Let's see if this is bright. Okay, clock has started. Hi everyone. Oh, icons don't work. Don't worry, don't worry. Those are supposed to be icons. Never mind, it's a custom font. Lesson learned. Right, TDD in Xcode Playgrounds. Obviously, you're all familiar with TDD. There's this big definition on Wikipedia. My definition is the best way to sleep well at night. If you don't know what it is basically pick a feature. You have a red-green refactor thing. Just a quick reminder, you have a new feature, you create a test, you write enough code to, well, first the test should fail. Sorry, this is one ahead. You write enough code to make it pass, and by enough code I mean just the smallest amount of code. In extreme programming circles, they call it YAGNI. And you start refactoring if you don't have anything left to do, and you keep doing that until you complete the feature, and then you go to the end. So the thing I want to show you is in Xcode we have this exit test and exit test case. You can also do this in Playgrounds. So how do you do this in Playgrounds? You start with import the exit test. You write a simple exit test case. You write a test. So the amount of tests, well, the test you can write is just creating a task, whatever that instance is. Obviously, to make it pass, you create that particular entity. Except that in that case, the test doesn't necessarily run. So to make it run in the Playgrounds, that's the trick you need to make. To create a default test suite and then you run it. So literally that's all you have to do in Playground. You don't need to create a new Xcode project. The beauty about this is you can write as much stuff as you want. So in that case, there are two different classes there. One is using the other, and that way you can test it right there. Obviously, if you don't want to test one or the other, you just comment out the relevant line, and then you have in the console you have the output. You can take it further than that, so you can separate the classes in separate Swift files in the sources, and then you just run the test there, so that way you can control it a bit easier. There are some tricks. You need to make some stuff public in there. That's how it runs in Xcode, so you can have tests at the bottom. The beauty about this is every time you change a character in the Playground, the whole test suite is going to run again. The other hidden benefit is the fact that you only work on that bit of code. So you only work on the feature. You're not in trouble of actually changing something else and being kind of wanting to change something else without having the test. So that way you have proper isolation. So obviously this is unit test, but it can be easily expanded to cover other things, and using mocks and whatnot to do integration tests. It's also possible to use third-party libraries in Playgrounds. And the way you do that, the trick there is to create a Cocoa framework to encapsulate those third-party frameworks, and then you just include those in there. So in that case, it's using Realm, and you can take advantages of the features that Realm have. So in that case, you use an in-memory randomly named database. The beauty about that is your tests actually never touching the disk. Everything is in memory, and that means they run fast as well. That code is only in tests, so when you move to production, you don't have that configuration. So all of that you can actually find on my blog, and this whole talk spearheaded from a couple of blog posts I had in there. I also have a book with a contentious title in the writing. It's about halfway through it, and I've learned today that I can't use that title. I was trying to. How many of you use Snapchat? Okay, so I've created a jaw filter using just the logo, and it got approved, and then half an hour later it got pulled down because apparently it's bad language. I didn't tell them what GTFO means, but you know. Also, if you want to find more, I'm running a half-day tutorial at London Tester Tutorials in May. That's me. Thank you.
Cheers, Paul. Thank you.